وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُّدَّكِرٍ.
Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. Welcome to the new short video tutorial. We will start lesson 4 of book 1 today. So this will be part 1 of lesson 4. This lesson covers a lot of new and important concepts, and we will take our time and go slow to make sure that we feel comfortable with each concept that we learn. Let's start. Bismillah. By now we should know that the words in Arabic can be fi'l, harf, or ism. When we covered ism in lesson 3 of this book, we mentioned one of its attributes that is specific to ism. Only ism can have that attribute, not harf or fi'l. Do you remember what it was? It was definiteness of ism. We had learned that only ism can be ma'rifah or nakira. We do not say fi'l or harf is ma'rifah or nakira. Today we'll learn another attribute that is specific to ism. Ism can be masculine or feminine. Masculine is called mudhakkar and feminine is mu'annath in Arabic. Let's take some examples for mudhakkar ism. Kitabun, a book. An-najmu, the star. Al-hisanu, the horse. Almost all of the ism that we learned so far were mudhakkar, masculine ism. Now let me show you some examples for mu'annath ism. غرفة, a room. الساعة, the watch. المدرسة, the school. There is something common in these feminine or mu'annath ism. Can you tell what is common in them? They are all ending with the special letter ta, which is called ta مربوطة or round ta. When we see any ism ending with ta مربوطة, most of the time, with a few exceptions, that word is mu'annath, feminine. Let's try to keep that in mind, okay? Note that the mu'annath ism can also be ma'rifah and nakira, just like mudhakkar ism. For example, غرفتun is a room. It is ending with tanween. Al-ghurfatu is the room, coming with al prefix and has dhamma ending instead of tanween dhamma. Now let's learn about a special type of ism, which is the names of persons. In the middle of page 23 of book 1, we have two columns. The left one contains a list of girls' names, so these names are by nature feminine. And on the right we have the boys' names. They are naturally masculine ism. Let's go ahead and read them and get familiarized with them because we will start using these names from this lesson forward, insha'Allah. Let's first read the boys' names in the right column. I will read them and you try to repeat after me, okay? Muhammadun, Khalidun, Hamidun, Yasirun, Ammarun, Sa'idun, Aliyun, Abbasun. Notice the tanween at the end of these names. Most of the native Arabic names end with tanween as we see here. Now we have the girls' names in the left column. Aminatu, Zainabu, Fatimatu, Maryamu, Aishatu, Khadijatu, Safiyatu, Ruqayyatu. So, do you see the special pattern in the girl names? They do not have tanween, do they? They are ending with dhamma instead. Girls' names do not want to carry extra weight by carrying noon at the end. Also, a lot of girls' names end with ta marbuta, which was the sign of ism being mu'annath if you remember from our earlier discussion. There are some exceptions to this ta marbuta ending, like Maryamu or Zainabu, that do not end with ta marbuta. But even then, these feminine names still end with dhamma, not with tanween. So we say Maryamu and Zainabu, not Maryamun or Zainabun. These are the examples and common characteristics of boys and girls' names in Arabic. And one important rule that we should keep in mind is that persons' names are always ma'rifah, definite ism in Arabic, whether or not they end with tanween. Because when we use these ism, for example, when we say Khalidun or Fatimatu, we already know whom we are talking about. That is why they have to be ma'rifah. Now let's practice reading the names properly by doing the exercise at the bottom of page 23. I will give you a few seconds to try to read it on your own, and I will read it for you to check yourself. Please pay attention to the ending of the names. Hamidun, Zainabu, Aminatu, Ammarun, Sa'idun, Fatimatu, Maryamu, Aliyun, Khalidun, Abbasun, Aishatu, Muhammadun, Safiyatu, Khadijatu. Very nice. So just to make sure we understand what we learned so far, let's quickly practice with a few example-ism. For example, let's take qalamun, a pen. Qalamun is a regular ism that we all are familiar with. Can you tell me, is it mudhakkar or mu'annath? Notice it doesn't end with ta marbuta. Qalamun is mudhakkar. It is masculine. Now, is it ma'rifah or nakira? It is nakira, right? And what would be the ma'rifah form of this ism? Al-qalamu. Very good. Now let's take this special type of ism. Khalidun. It's a person's name. Is it mudhakkar or mu'annath? It is mudhakkar, or masculine by nature, because it's a boy's name. Now, is it ma'rifah or nakira? As we learned just a moment ago, the person's names are all ma'rifah by default. That is why they belong to a special subcategory of ism, because they are ma'rifah even if they look like nakira. So even if Khalidun is ending with tanween, it is still ma'rifah. There is no nakira form of Khalidun. It is a rule that we need to try to remember, okay? Do you remember the reason why persons' names were ma'rifah? Because when we use the ism Khalidun, we already know whom we are talking about. For example, when we say Khalidun tabibun, Khalid is a doctor, we know which Khalid we are talking about. How about this ism? As-sa'atu. Again, as-sa'atu means the watch, and it is a regular ism. First of all, is as-sa'atu mudhakkar or mu'annath? It is mu'annath because of ta marbuta ending. The second question is as-sa'atu ma'rifah or nakira? It is ma'rifah, right? The definite ism. So what would be the nakira indefinite form of it? Sa'atun with tanween ending. Very good. Because it is a regular ism, it acts just like any ism that we've learned so far. The only difference is that it is mu'annath, feminine ism. How about Aishatu? Is it mu'annath or mudhakkar? It is mu'annath because it is a girl's name. Is it ma'rifah or nakira? It is a person's name, so it will have to be what? Ma'rifah, right? No matter how this word is ending, it is ma'rifah, definite ism. We will learn a lot more about mu'annath and mudhakkar ism in lesson 6, insha'Allah. What we learned right now as far as mudhakkar and mu'annath ism and persons' names should be enough for us to go through the rest of lesson 4. Before we finish this video, let me give you a bit more idea about ta marbuta. This special ta comes at the end of words only. It is generally a sign of مؤنث, feminine gender, as in الغرفة, الجنة. While in speech, when we stop at ta مربوطة, we pronounce it as ha. Example, surah. We write it as suratun, but say it as surah, treating ta مربوطة as ha. But when we connect it to the next word, we read it as ta. For example, Suratul Baqarah. Surah versus Suratul Baqarah. You see, we are reading the first ta marbuta as ta and the second ta marbuta as ha. Suratul Baqarah. This rule does not apply to regular ta, as in al-baytu. We always read regular ta as ta no matter where it comes, and it is not a sign of mu'annath. Al-baytu is in fact mudhakkar ism. Now, that being said, we are going to keep pronouncing the ta marbuta as ta even if we stop at it, just so we fully understand how exactly words are ending. So, for just learning purposes, we will read surah as suratun, because we need to know why it is ending with tanween. Similarly, we will read Fatimah as Fatimatu, so we understand it is ending with dhamma, not tanween, okay? Let's finish this video right here. We will learn another important attribute of ism in the next video, so please come prepared with fresh minds and ready to learn. I will see you in part 2 of lesson 4, insha'Allah. Wassalamu alaikum.